Mr. Josh, thank you so much for joining me in this space. Thank you for giving me your time and also for just availing yourself to speak about what's coming up. Some exciting things on the horizon. Thank you for coming into the space.
Thanks, Temba. Thanks for doing this, man. I know we tried a couple of times to sit down and have these conversations, and I wasn't available, and you are also busy and stuff. At least this evening we were able to sit and talk. So thanks for doing this, man.
No, man, happy to have you here. So I've been seeing, on the socials in your gig guide, that there's something about overseas happening there, man. Can you tell us what that's about?
So what's happening is that I'm attending a conference or a hackathon, as they call it.
Sure.
In Dubai, it's called ACE 360. Basically, it's an event where creatives are coming together to see how they can collaborate with AI tools.
Interesting.
Like your Sono and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to figure that out.
Okay.
But basically, that's what it is. It's a government-sponsored event. It's facilitated by an organization called IMEXA.
Okay.
And it's sponsored by DTI and GDDA.
Wow.
So I'm going there on that. So it's a funded trip.
Okay. I'm hearing some powerful sponsor names that you mentioned, and I've seen that this is not your first time having an engagement overseas. How did you get into this space where as a musician now you're also availing yourself to different audiences and different spaces, including overseas? How did you get into that space?
Yeah, I think I was lucky, or I was blessed to meet a good friend, Sahodi, who actually forced me to formalize my music, register a company, and have it audited on a yearly basis.
Okay.
Because those are the requirements that you must meet. You must have a registered company. The financials must be done and audited.
Okay.
And it must be what you call SARS or tax compliant.
Sure. Okay.
So he was able to do that, and then we began to apply for funding.
Okay.
So I've been taken to the US. I went to Austin, Texas, for a South by South festival there, conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also been to Dubai. So this is the second time I'm going to Dubai.
Okay.
And it's through their funding. Yeah.
I see.
So I was just blessed in that way.
Mm-hmm. No, that's so interesting. I think it's amazing that as a musician, you're not just putting out music. So you're not just recording and releasing. There's other things that you're doing.
Yeah.
And as a musician, I think it's amazing that these opportunities are there,
Yeah.
Maybe you could encourage someone who's thinking, there are no opportunities in this space, and maybe you can talk a little bit about that, just getting over the idea that there are no opportunities. Like how does someone maybe change their perspective? On that.
That's an interesting question. Look, I used to think like that as well.
Yeah.
And I don't speak as someone who's hit the inflection point.
Okay.
I haven't. I'm still to hit that inflection point where I can hopefully blow up and be successful and be impactful in terms of my music and have bigger audiences listening to it. But what I learned through the relationship and the friendship I had with Safodi is that you gotta believe in the process.
Okay.
So he believes that you have to apply for funding and let people reject you.
Okay.
But you cannot make an assumption that people will never approve your application.
Right.
Like that. So for me, I think we ought to remain, optimistic, all the time as musicians or as artists, and believe in the process that someone will reward our work, someone will hear our music somewhere, and be probably the person who will open the gate for us, or the door for us.
Sure.
Because had I not met the guy, I don't think I would have ended up, formalizing my music in the way that I've done.
Correct.
So I think that is important.
And speaking of just formalizing the music, there's a single that you released quite recently. In fact, I believe it was this past week, and maybe you can speak to that. And was it intentional with this Dubai trip? Is there a link there, or what's the situation there?
Not really. What happened was I'm working with a friend. There's a friend of mine, Cele. We worked on an album, I think, back in 2013, 2014.
Okay.
And we are releasing a single on that album. So the plan was to release that single first.
Okay.
And then there were just issues around it. And the aggregator that is supposed to distribute that song. So then I ended up saying, okay, let me release this one for now.
Okay.
Ideally, it was supposed to come out next week on Friday next week, which is, I think it's the 20th.
Okay.
So I don't know what happened with the distribution network. I noticed that it came out on Thursday. So we've been, pushing, because ideally you want to advertise before
before it's out. Yeah.
So I didn't even get a chance to do that.
Sure.
Ended up having to tell people that the song is there, but it has gained some traction.
Okay.
From the time it was released, I think we've just crossed the 100 mark in terms of views on YouTube.
Okay.
I've not checked the other platforms like your Apple Music and your Spotify.
Correct.
But it's been amazing to see that people are actually listening to the song
and ready for it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So it's not really linked to my trip to Dubai, but I'm glad that it came out at this time so that people at least can be consuming it. And so that's how it came out.
I see. So this single, is it leading up to some sort of an album release? Is there a plan for some releases in the future as far as albums are concerned, or is this just a standalone single?
Basically, it is leading up to a release. So what I did over the years, I've recorded hymns, I've recorded songs that I've written myself.
Yeah.
And I've done quite a number of different songs. I've got an album entitled 96, which was just where I went and I took all the songs, most of the songs that were covered by male chorales.
Okay.
Back in the 90s, and I interpreted those songs with a band.
Okay.
They were previously, rendered in a cappella.
Right.
But I said, okay, I wonder how they would sound like
with the band. Yeah.
With the band. So we then went into the studio and we worked on them.
Okay.
So I've done all sorts of things. So this time around, I decided, I'm not doing hymns, I'm not doing that. I'm just going for choruses.
Okay.
And that's what I've done. So the song I've released, for instance, Evangelia Kudala, is just a chorus.
Yes.
But we took it and we placed it on some great music.
Sure.
And to reimagine it and to give it a new so that it's appreciated differently.
Right, a new angle to the song.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So basically, this will lead to an album of choruses that will ultimately be published on all the digital platforms. But that music is also available in terms of the memory stick. So I'm already selling the album from the boot.
Okay.
But people can expect it to be on digital platforms, maybe in a month or 2 months' time.
Okay.
We're just going to release singles. I think at the end of this month, there's another single coming entitled Bonga.
Okay.
And people, I think, will connect with that.
I'm looking forward to it.
Sure.
And you touched a bit on some of the inspirations for 96, I believe it was.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to inspiration now.
Okay.
Maybe let's talk music. So you've released quite a number of albums, album singles, all sorts of packaging, if I can say that, of music renderings. Maybe let's deal with the process. Like, so many albums are out. How do you, what's your thought process maybe going into planning an album, and also when it's out? You touched on the advertising side, so how do you touch on that, and maybe a bit of some of your studio experience, but just how do you approach the music with the albums that you've released. Maybe you can touch on what you have released and just what the process was there.
I think it was around 2009, year 2009.
Okay.
I was part of a quartet called Crucified Quartet,
Okay.
and we recorded our first album then. I think we recorded it in 2008, and it was released later that year. And then 2009, we were in Bloemfontein, I remember, and we were attending some event there.
Okay.
So I then took a decision after that to say, no, I'll do some work also as a soloist. So I started around 2010. I think that was the first time I released an album.
Okay.
But from that time up until now, I've released, I think, 5 albums. No, okay, it's 6 studio albums, including the one
It's coming now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I did also a live recording, so I've got an audio version of it and a DVD version of it. So that's the music I've released over the years. But what I try to do is that I would allow an album to saturate the market.
Okay.
In my case, it's obviously the Adventist
Right.
community. So when it has done that, then I'll release a follow-up album.
Okay.
Because also what I've always tried to do is to make sure that each and every album that I release has its own character.
Sure.
And that is never easy. It's easy to do. Yeah. So you may have heard my hymns album, Hymns According to Josh album. There we had a full band basically.
Yes.
You know, and then after that I released an album entitled Rejoice, and that one was an album where I penned about 4 songs, and the rest of the songs were either choruses or hymns. Okay. But obviously, how we interpreted them, we tried to align them with the compositions that I had contributed in that album. So, and then after that, I released an album entitled 96, which was basically a celebration of the music I was exposed to when I first joined the church. Okay. So it would be a song like "In a Little While We're Going Home." Yeah. That was a quartet standard back then. I think it still is. And then it would be a song that was written by a student in Ireland entitled "Give Thanks to the Lord." Okay. It would be another one called Jordan. Oh, when I looked over Jordan. Yeah. Things like that. Yeah. So 96 was about celebrating that period of my life when I was introduced into Adventism. Correct. And I was exposed to that kind of music. And then after that, I released an album entitled Hymns of Hope. That was during COVID.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay. So to reflect that somber period, what we did with the album, we stripped it. Okay. So I would do a song like "Nearer My God to Thee." Sure. With just the piano and a saxophone and the vocals. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And then I would do a song like Wonderful Words of Life. Okay. Also, they would strip it. They would just have some percussion and the guitar and maybe keys and stuff like that. So that album reflected that period, stripped it, but it was a hymns project, which is different from the very first one that I did. Right. And then after that, obviously, I then did the songs that I've got now in terms of the choruses, this current album. Yeah. Then the live album was nice in that what we did, we had a 5-piece band at the Yamaha Theatre. I had a friend of mine, Cindy Jonas. She's amazing. Yeah, so she comes in, we do duets, and then she covers her own material as well. Okay. And then I had other friends like Oidu, Ovuyo, and Oshomil. And so that one is a live album. So we took songs from the hymns, we took songs from the Rejoice album, and then we put together. And that culminated into a DVD. I see. Yeah. So basically, that's the work I've produced over the period of about what is it? Maybe this is my 15th year. Sure. As a soloist. Yeah. Then in terms of the process, well, I when I've taken a decision, then I would bring in my sound guy, my sound engineer, Ungosi, who's based in the Free State, and then I'll say, this is what I want us to work on. What is interesting is that songs, even arrangements, evolve in the studio.
Sure, sure.
We
can have an
don't
idea
walk in there
before.
knowing exactly what
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
going to do. We go in there and we play around, and by the time we are done, there's an arrangement that came out of that process. So for me, that's how I've always approached my recording sessions. It's just to identify the songs I want to do. If it's compositions, then it's a different matter altogether. But if it's songs that were sung before I'm doing a cover version of the song, then the approach is different. We go into the studio, we start working on the song, and by the time we are done, there's an arrangement out of it. You know? Obviously, in some cases, that can be a hit and miss.
Right.
Because sometimes you come up with a beautiful arrangement, sometimes you don't. You come up with a song that will connect with certain people, and some people won't.
Correct.
They not connect to it. So yeah, so basically that's about it.
There's two things that you touched on.
Yeah, sure.
The one was you mentioned, having a live concert and you were bringing in friends, people that that were collaborating with. Maybe you can just speak to the spirit of collaboration, if I can say that, and how that factors into your music, into your productions, and why you do that. Because there's some people who will have a concert and it's just them, and that's okay, but you choose to bring in these people that you choose to share the stage with. So maybe you can just speak to that.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So earlier on in my music journey, I realized that as an artist, you do not connect with everyone.
Okay.
In the same way that people do not prefer the same preacher.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? People have different preaching styles that they prefer.
Yes.
Yeah, they assimilate, information in different ways. So, and not all preachers are the same.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing even in music. Music is you have your favorite artist as you sit there.
Yeah.
So when I understood that, then I realized that for me, at least for me, to make a concert fuller, I would need to work with other people.
Okay.
So that if there's that one person who's here and is saying, so and so brought me here, otherwise I wouldn't have come.
Right.
At least that other artist that I've featured may connect with him or connect with him.
Sure.
And by the time we are done with the concert, the person walks home feeling like, yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
That was nice. We were blessed. We enjoyed the music.
Yeah.
I didn't waste a night.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
definitely.
So that's my philosophy around the idea of collaborating.
Yeah.
But also, there's something about collaborations in terms of just the synergy.
Sure.
That creates between the performers and stuff. So for me, that is also another important thing. I've shared the stage. I've brought people who were basically better than me. In terms of talent.
Sure.
So in my own concert, I had a moment of sitting down and appreciating.
And just appreciating 100%.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that I'm also fed whilst I'm trying to inspire people and influence people in terms of the gospel, but I'm also able to sit in that very same concert that I've put together to actually enjoy, some other artists that I know. So
yeah.
So that's basically my philosophy when it comes to collaborations.
Yeah. And I think that's such a powerful tool also of just promoting other people. I think that also says a lot about what you value and how you want to put yourself across. Is it only about you and what you're doing, or is it about you and the team that you work with, that you collaborate with? And also just being able to give others a platform. I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, sure.
Just being able to give others a platform, that goes such a long way. Then the second thing now is the history. You mentioned, listening to some quartets from back in the day and some standards there. Maybe we can touch on some of the history of Josh Cele music. Like where does this come from? Where did it start? And how did we get here?
No, I get you. So I wasn't born, in Adventist.
Okay.
I was born a Catholic,
Okay.
and from there then I was part of the Apostolic Faith of Church.
Okay.
And then from there then I joined the Adventist Church.
Okay.
So up until I joined the church, I didn't really have an appreciation of is it male 4-part harmony.
Okay.
English bundles now.
Yeah.
Are running dry. So I didn't have an appreciation of that. I was introduced to that kind of 4-part harmony when I joined the church. I was familiar with SATB, soprano, alto, tenor, bass. I was familiar with that because in the Apostolic Faith, that's what we sang.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying? But when I joined the Adventist Church, then I was introduced to this this idea of 4-part male harmony.
Sure.
Yeah, and stuff. So so my journey within the context of Adventism started in 1996. With guys who had gone to a camp at that college, and they came back and they were like, let's start a group. We called ourselves Brothers of Peace.
Okay.
Later on, we became Heavenly Singers, and later on, then we started a quartet called Crucified Quartet. So that was my journey. The influences were locally. It was Dasa Corel.
Okay.
It was MMC, Masters Male Corel.
Okay.
It was the Joy Bells Quartet. When we started doing 4-part harmony, we had guys who had gone to a primary level, students at primary, who had gotten their influence from groups like River Jordan.
Okay.
So it's quite.
Some of these are before my time.
Yeah, you wouldn't know them. I also, when I joined the church, the group was no longer there. So those were some of the groups that had a direct influence in terms of what I do today.
Yeah.
And then overseas, we were obviously exposed to the King's Heralds. We were exposed to a cappella, all the versions of a cappella.
Yeah.
Groups. I can't. Is it? Yeah. And actually, I'm forgetting even the quartet. There was a time here in SA we had the quartet. I think you know them as it Beyond Vocal now.
Yes.
So I remember the quartet. They were quite an influence when we were growing up. So those were the influences, and then we had people who were specifically teaching us how to sing, who had gone to a primary Opagamile Adams, Ondanda Tageshe. And a couple of guys were older than us, but had a deep appreciation of a cappella music and 4-part harmony. And then I think when I started then singing in quartets, it would have been people like Abo Pramno, Abo Tatuyen, that had an interest in shaping how we sing and how we approach the music. So there's that. But obviously, when the time came for me to leave Mthatha, for work purposes, obviously, then that meant I had to sort of have my own path, and so that meant that I met people like Abongosi, who's my sound engineer that I work with. And he sort of helped me define my sound. Yeah, it's obviously a sound that talks to a niche. It's not a sound for everybody.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying? I've had people criticize me or criticize the music, but I always knew it's probably not meant for them.
Yeah.
I take the criticism because we need to do that and try and grow. But sometimes you realize that the kind of music you're doing, there's not a time where it will connect with this person.
Right.
This person has his own flavor, and they're trying to impose that flavor on you, and it never works, So, but I've obviously been influenced by all those groups, those different people that I met over the period. And they've placed me somewhere. I was talking to somebody on the phone the other day, and he felt that I'm sort of in between a certain era and the new era. You know?
Okay.
So the old era will probably look at me and say, yes, Yamuzwa, but we are worried.
Yeah.
You know?
Bit
You
far.
know, but the current, the current generation and the people who are engaged in the current way of singing, I've noticed that they have a deep appreciation when my music sort of um, uh, uh, um, is sits on, how do I put it? When my music is jazzy, let me just put it that way.
Sure.
You find them tapping and connecting with the music. But the trick is always to try and not make it too jazzy so that people do not connect with the music.
At all, yeah.
But also, you don't want to. You want the music to still move people. The music should be the vehicle to communicate the message. So it's always tricky to strike that balance. But I've noticed that some have suggested that I'm sitting in between the transition. I'm basically transitional. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, no.
But look, people can always judge, make their own judgment and decide whether that's true or not. But that's the niche I'm servicing. That's the position I've placed my music and myself in terms of the movement.
I see. It's interesting you spoke about niche because that was actually what my next question. But you've already answered that. But yeah, speaking about so we've spoken about the music. Now just looking at what's coming up for you in the music space. There's a show I believe in September in Umtata. And other things coming up even before then. So maybe you can just speak to what's next for Josh Cele.
Yeah, so I'm obviously releasing this album, the hymns, and I think people are going to love it and enjoy it, especially those who are already sold.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what is coming, and then I'm doing basically it's an annual concert that we do in Umtata. We've decided that it's going to be like that.
Okay.
So I did one last year, 2024. I'm doing another one now in September the 13th. We're encouraging people to buy the tickets because they're available on web tickets. So what I do there, I go home. Tata is where where my home is.
Beautiful.
So I go home and I work with the Crucified Quartet. I work with Clarion Voice Quartet. This year we are featuring a group called Divinely Ensembled.
Okay.
And we have a friend of mine, a young man, Unande, coming through as well. We also have Paba SA coming through. We have TD Sigit also coming through. So it's gonna be a great night in Umtata.
Yeah.
And we are doing it because people came up and said, we enjoyed what you delivered last year. We hope you're gonna do it again this year.
Sure.
And the committee I was working with also felt the same way. So that's what is coming up. And then I try not to do many big events because it's a lot of work. So some of these things are what you call we are bootstrapping them. So that comes with frustrations and a lot. So I prefer to do one event. There's been talk of bringing the same show to Joburg.
Hey, please.
Because we have a niche here that is
exactly.
That's
we service also.
Exactly. You get what I'm saying? That I'm hoping we can bring that kind of music that those guys do and that I do as well. So we are contemplating that. If time allows, we will definitely make sure that it comes to Joburg as well.
We'd appreciate that. We'd appreciate that. Just to go back to Dubai. So this is your second time in Dubai.
Yeah.
And what did you enjoy about it? Maybe in your last time there. What are you looking forward to this time around? Outside of obviously the workshop itself and everything, just the experience of being in in that
Look, my experience about Dubai is that or maybe this is politics. I don't know.
Yeah.
When they talk about infrastructure projects,
Mhm.
um, 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 economic development
Yeah.
and all this stuff, you see it.
Okay. Okay.
You land and you can just see as you're driving to your hotel or you're being driven to your hotel or you catch a train to your hotel.
Mhm.
It's quite amazing to see that there's a building rising everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that talks to the whole infrastructure projects that they are busy with.
Sure.
So for me, that was quite inspiring.
Mm.
To say I've heard politicians talk about this
Mhm.
ideas of infrastructure development, but you
Right.
never really visualize it.
Sure.
So Dubai actually, showed me that. But obviously, there's a lot that can be said maybe about it. The supports they may have or enjoy, or the wealth that they may have
Yeah.
that allows them to do such things. But for me, that was quite inspirational. It's just the whole experience. You can see when you get there, you can see that people are busy. There's activity. So
Yeah.
if you've got an entrepreneurial spirit, you're in the right place when you're in Dubai.
Okay.
Conversation is just around that.
Business and
Because that first visit was more about the music business. So
Sure.
we were there to sort of learn how to organize yourself and be a business as an artist.
Sure.
Treat yourself and handle yourself as if you're a business.
Yeah.
So we got workshops in that space where visiting different companies and different sort of sectors
Okay.
to get an appreciation of what it means to be a business and how you should think about running a business. This visit is obviously different because this is focused on music, at least from what we are hearing, and how we can use AI tools to grow, our craft and make it better.
Sure. Now, looking forward to hearing, the nuggets that you picked up that side when you get back. But maybe for now, as we bring our discussion to a close, maybe you can just tell us where we can find you, where we can find your music, which platforms are you on, and just where can people find Josh Cele?
Yeah. Well, I've got I've got a proper or significant digital footprint.
Okay.
All my albums, 5 of them actually, are on all the digital platforms.
Okay.
Spotify, YouTube Music, YouTube, Apple Music, iTunes, Deezer, basically all those platforms. But what we've also done, we've created a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Which we are encouraging people to subscribe to.
Please.
And I've loaded some videos. Some of them are coming from, I don't know if you remember this television station, Life Destiny TV.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's some content that comes from there.
Okay.
They recorded me at some point. And so we've taken all those videos, we've dropped them, and we're still going to publish more on that channel, Josh Cele Music. So that's where you find my music. And then for those who prefer, the old way of consuming music, they can contact me directly.
Okay.
And I can avail my music in a memory stick format. So that's basically where they can find my music. Yes, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on there.
Rhythm that side,
TikTok is busy, bro.
It's a lot.
It can be time consuming. When you go in, you can't come out. So I
get sucked in there.
So I try to stay away from it as much as I can. But I have a presence there. And then obviously it's Facebook. Our website is still under construction. So as soon as it's up, people will also know about that.
Okay. No, that's perfect. Is there anything that is on your mind? Maybe some final thoughts about the music, yourself, your journey, anything that you wanna maybe close this up with?
Yeah, well, no, not really. I think we've covered much, and you found a way to pick my brain on some of the things.
Thank you for the
Unfortunately, I've
episode.
made myself vulnerable because people will know now what I think about certain things. But I just want to appreciate you, for taking the time to come and create this platform for us to have this conversation.
Yeah.
I think there's what you are doing. You're creating voices or spaces for some voices to be heard.
Sure.
Because generally, I mean, upcoming artists do not have the budget, to get in front of audiences via radio or television and stuff like that. So it's always a difficult thing to do. So if we can get platforms like this where people can come in and have conversations with us, and hopefully, out of the whole editing you do, maybe there'll be a viral moment.
Yeah.
Videos, and
Sure.
that will probably, drive traffic to our music.
100%.
And it can, because all we want is for this music to get in front of as many people as we can. And maybe I should mention this. I was talking to someone, and I used to attend women's ministry programs.
Okay.
It's a department within the church, or it's a ministry within the church. Part of the reason I did that is that I was an unknown, because I grew up in Umtata. I was socialized there, sang in camp meetings, and that's all I did. So if you put me against somebody who's had the privilege of studying, in Adventist institutions,
Sure.
they've got a broader reach. By the time they record an album, almost every church is somebody who went to that school or who went to that institution. So for me, I had to find a different way to actually get in front of audiences, to try and achieve the same thing that people would have achieved by either attending Adventist schools,
Sure.
and other church programs. So when I started releasing this music, then I would attend women's ministry programs, and so I got in front of many audiences as I could through that. To create a situation where I would have a niche that is carved out of that. So that has been one thing that I'm also grateful for.
Sure.
That I was given the platforms by all the directors. Maybe one or two probably didn't feel like putting me in front of their audiences, but most of them they did, and that has created a much bigger footprint. My music has traveled to places that I never thought it would, because somebody bought a CD or bought a memory stick at an event I was singing at. So and what it does sometimes is that you show up at a local church, and then you realize, well, somebody knows you. They can
recognize
you
you.
from a particular event, and that goes a long way. In that endorsement leads to the rest of the church adopting your music, and basically I'm raising this because I've always thought of my music as something that needs to be heard, and it needs to be heard by quite a number of people who obviously connect with it.
Definitely.
So anyway, I don't have much to say except to say thank you.
Thank you for being on this platform, for availing yourself, in the busyness of life and the schedules. I'm really glad that we got to have you for this conversation, and hopefully we can have you back sometime soon, man.
I'll appreciate that.
Hopefully we can.
I'll appreciate that. Well, thanks a lot, Tim.
No, man, thank you so much.
Sure, appreciate it.